And so we'll stay on the South African track, but switch our focus away from the ANC and towards the DA, because it seems as though as the ANC weakens, Ramaphosa's position only strengthens, but it seems that John Steenhuisen faces the opposite hurdle, where as the DA's position strengthens, his position weakens. So, James or France, which one of you want to go first on what's happening with John and the leadership struggle in the DA?
I think France should go
Oh,
lead on this.
okay. Well, I want to say a few things. I don't know if I'll one day regret them, but here we go. It's an open story now. It's not even an open secret that John is under severe pressure inside the DA, and that there are moves to remove him, and that some of the people who are behind those moves, they make a series of arguments. Some of it is based on the sort of salacious stuff that's been in the press. I think they should be very careful about removing John. And I think there are a number of reasons for that. And then if I forget, I want to say something about how John could position himself. The first thing is that since this is the case for John Steenhuisen, and I mean, I've had my run-ins with John, I can assure you of that. But this is the case for John Steenhuisen. Since he became leader of his party, its support went up, not down, and it's polling as strongly as it ever has. So that's number one. Number two, his party is vying for control of Gauteng. It's now the strongest player there, and to win South Africa's biggest cities. Already has Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Pretoria conceivably can be won. This is not a minor achievement. His chief rival, the ANC, lost its control of the country under his watch. You can say who takes credit for it, but he was the guy that sat in the CEO's, or he's the head of the party seat. He got his party into the government, which if you speak to all the old liberals, which was the sort of background of the DA, he said to them one day, "You'll all be in the cabinet running the country." They'd sounded, even a few years ago, to many of them sounded far-fetched to those who sit in the cabinet, some of them, when they first got there. Since he's been in the government, essentially co-leading the country with Mr. Ramaphosa, things have got a little bit better. Through the influence of the Treasury, of which the DA has Deputy Minister of Finance. Both deputies are excellent, and I think the minister is also very, very good. We've had a very good budget under difficult circumstances. The Treasury is not responsible for the fact that the economy doesn't grow. It deals with the consequences. That triggered the first ratings upgrade in 20 years. South Africa's fixed investment number business confidence numbers can conceivably tick upwards somewhat. At the time of the GNU negotiations, I can remember one afternoon, John had been offered or the DA had been offered a particular cabinet position, and in practice that was unilaterally withdrawn. And he was in a very difficult position in his own party, and I thought he was very good in actually being the bigger man, and not collapsing the whole thing on that, and actually going into the GNU deal, which I was an advocate of and remain, and I think in the 4 points I mentioned earlier, it's done a lot of good for the country. And of late, as James said, the difficult press John has had might rankle some people, but if you think a bit more broadly about it, what does it do? It establishes a kind of common ground, because the ANC gets this kind of press all the time. This kind of hostile, not undeserved often, hostile, snarling, sort of smirking media. Look at that ANC leader, what a moron, and this one, look what he's done, and that one. And now John's had the same kind of press. And you'll notice the ANC hasn't attacked him, because there's some kind of, I don't know if you call it an honor code or what, which kind of says that if the press is doing this to you about your personal life and whatever, you don't, we, on the ANC side, they say we know what that's like. We get that all the time. Now you see the DA getting it. And what that creates, and I think this is incredibly important, is oddly enough, and somewhat counterintuitively, a degree of common ground between the ANC leader, the DA leader and parts of the ANC that the DA could not otherwise achieve with the ANC, and I'd be very, very wary of throwing that away. And I'd further say that if you look at potential successors for John, be very cautious that you're picking a person who one remains committed for whatever the reasons are to the GNU, not someone who's willing to walk out of that quickly, and also a person who can build on the kind of rapport that's been established with the ANC. Let's go on. I've made a long list of reasons. If you fire John, it would probably be in April of next year that DA has a conference. He might fight back. The party might be factionalized. And that's 9 months ahead, 8 months, 9 months ahead of the local government elections. And if the DA starts fighting with itself before those elections, the voting public, we know from the polling, they just hate this. And the DA has been so good in not doing that. And if they start it before the election, it will probably cost them the prospect of winning Johannesburg and Pretoria. More so for the fact that Helen Zille would have to divert herself from her Johannesburg campaign to go and sort out, the Iron Lady of the DA. She'd have to go and sort out the mess. If the thought is to position someone like Silje Brink, who's the greatest guy, as a DA leader, well, he's actually the Pretoria candidate. If it's Jordan Hill-Lewis, he runs a city. And I would not at all be assured that city is entirely safe, given the challenge of Gayton McKenzie. Well, let me quickly say something about Gayton. Last night, I thought he was wonderful because he was sent. It shows you the nastiness of the fighting in the DA. He was sent a printout of John's bank statements by a person in the DA. Obviously in the hope that Gayton would publish these and share them. And Gayton made a great little video clip, and he said, you know what? He said, I've burnt them or shredded them, one of the two, because this isn't what I do. This isn't how we play the game. And that's very much the same point I was making to you about the sort of peculiar honor code around the ANC guys not going after John on this stuff. And Gayton then said the other point is don't think I'm an idiot and I don't play your game for you. So I don't care who the DA leader is. I'm certainly not going to involve myself in its politics. So I think what we say is and there are problems around challenges around the leadership of the DA. I'm not saying there aren't. I'm just saying this is a moment to just think through the thing very, very calmly. And sometimes the best thing to do, even if you have an internal conflict, is for everyone to calm down and sit on their hands and see the bigger strategic picture and not go and do something rash, particularly at a moment when it's not clear that the candidate that you might, I don't know who the candidate would be, candidate you might replace the chap with is not being properly thought through. So, Gabriel, there we go. I've said it.